I'm Tom Quillier.
I'm Jordan McIntyre.
I'm Taylor Savage.
And I'm Donnie Wanera.
We just watched the Mean World Syndrome video. So basically, our overview of that is Mean World Syndrome is when the media portrays society to be more violent than it actually is. So my feelings about the movie and my response to it is, to me, it makes sense because I always go off the notion that violence sells. So if you have a news station that is airing the violent stories, it's going to get them more ratings. And then with that more ratings, it's just going to prompt them to air more violent stuff more than the, like the good or like the happy news stories.
I found the movie also very interesting. Growing up and even now, before I watched this video, I'd never really thought about just how much bad stuff there is in the news and how it can actually affect people to go down the street and just think that just because somebody's walking past them with their hood up, that person could be trying to hurt them or rob them or do anything bad. I just never thought how much that affects your daily life.
I also agree with that. I didn't really realize that either. And then I was thinking, like, after watching it, that a lot of the times in movies and stuff, like, people are killed and there's, like, no repercussions. It's just, like, this awesome stuff that, like, kids love. So I never really thought about how that would impact kids in real life versus, like, the fantasy world of, like, the movie. But I don't know. I thought the film overall was interesting and, like, informing for, like, that type of perspective.
And I thought it was interesting that there are so many different types of media that allows different generations to learn about news, whether it be from, like, if you're older, you're more likely going to talk about the news, but if you're a child, you're going to be playing video games and seeing those violence. So, yeah.
So, I mean, going off the video, I mean, learning from this video, it makes you realize that, the world's not as violent as it truly is. I mean, of course, no one's going to deny that there's violent things happening. You can't turn a blind shoulder to that. But, there's good stories out there that aren't getting reported as much or aren't getting the media attention that it deserves. Like, I mean, we were talking after we all watched the movie, and, every 10 violent stories, there'll be, like, one happy story. So, I mean, it makes you realize that, there's good stuff a lot more happening than bad stuff.
Yeah, and I think on the news specifically, for as many bad things that they're going to have in the news, they should really try and have as many good things at least, if not more, just so that people aren't out here in the world scared to go outside.
It definitely reinforced my, like, opinion on violence and everything. Like, I don't know. I feel like I personally, from watching the news and stuff, like, I try to gear away from the news because I do feel like the world is violent. So I guess now from watching it, I realize that it's not just me. Like, I've always been, like, the type of person, like, I usually go to New York City at least once a year, and when I go there, I always hold, like, my bag really close to me, like, the whole, like, standard procedure, because I'm just scared that, like, somebody's gonna take stuff from me because, like, it's happened before. So now, like, I just do that. So I guess I didn't realize that it was, like, not only a me thing, but it's kind of, like, a phenomenon between, like all the people in the world.
And from what Tom said, with all the bad news and stuff, you kind of go and think, like, oh, maybe there's not as much good, but look at Ellen DeGeneres. Like, she brings out the good sometimes in most people. And I think we have to start viewing in that direction instead of just focusing on the news.
I agree. I mean, regarding to the whole prevention thing, I mean, it was great when the whole stranger danger, system was implemented, but I mean, not every person is a thief or anything. I could be walking down the street, and when someone looks at me, they might automatically assume, like, oh man, that guy's about to rob me or anything. So, I mean, I think in my personal opinion, to help with prevention is just educate more. Like, not everybody's bad. I mean, don't say that everybody's good, because there are bad people out there, and there's always going to be outliers and, the thieves and everything. But, there's a lot more good people than there are bad people in the world.
I think to prevent it, you have to realize that while you do see these bad things on the news, the chances are, if you go out in your average life, that not everyone's going to rob you. You're not going to be involved in a shooting. You can't go throughout your life scared that something bad is going to happen.
I definitely agree with Tom with that, like, helping to prevent it, like, an increase in education about it would help. I also think, like, for adults who have children, to regulate more what they're watching and stuff. I mean, not to be, like, super, like, uptight or anything, but I don't know. I just feel like some of the movies that are out now, like they just don't really care about what they're putting out as long as it sells. So I feel like parents should be like more aware of that.
I think that if you're watching the news and you see something bad, take initiative. Don't just sit around and just watch something bad happen, like a hurricane or Sandy Hook. Like Taylor said, talk about it. Like mention it to like your children how it could be bad. We are pretty much the difference. So just watching it and not really doing anything about it isn't gonna help and prevent nothing.
Thanks, guys.